Hello, everyone. It's really lovely to have you. Thank you for joining us for this Lunch and Learn session on the theme of Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 funding opportunities for the early years and school age care sector. It's fantastic to see that our virtual room is so full, and it's really great to have you here. I just want to let you know that we're recording this session and we will share the recording with all participants. Also, you're welcome to bring any questions that you may have related to the Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 application and opportunity. So please don't hesitate to pop your questions in the chat, and our moderators will pick up the questions and will raise them at the end of today's session. We have half an hour today, and without further ado, roll it there, Colette. We'll start with the slides. And I am delighted that for today's session, I am joined by Caroline Bohan from Eivers Lane Childcare Centre and from Caroline Yorke from Léargas. So you're very welcome. Thank you for joining me today as panelists. The plan for today is that we will cover 3 themes. We will give you an overview of Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 opportunities for the early years and school age care settings. We'll share with you what the benefits of mobility projects are, and we will chat through the resources and the next steps so that you have a real practical idea of how to go about your Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 funding application if you do decide to go for it. So over to the next slide. Thank you. And these are the 3 panelists, and straight into the caveats. So over to the next slide again, please. Thank you. Okay, so what is Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 all about? It is one of the European Union's flagship initiatives in early childhood education and care. It is also linked to the European Quality Framework for ECEC, which says that staff need complex knowledge, skills and competencies, as well as deep understanding of child development knowledge about early childhood pedagogy to fulfill their personal role in supporting children. In real terms, this means that it's an opportunity for staff professionalisation, which in turn ensures higher quality for children. This is really a relatively new opportunity and funding for the sector, so that settings can access this funding in their own right. And this new opportunity and funding offers staff a period of time in another European country to undertake professionalisation activities, such as, for example, structured study, work experience, job shadowing, volunteering, training, and some teaching opportunities. Participation in Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 projects can enhance staff motivation and satisfaction. It can also enhance foreign language competencies and diversity, equality and inclusion competencies of staff, and it can raise awareness and understanding of other cultures and countries. Last but not least, Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 funding can be a catalyst for growth in our sector. This is evidenced by the school sector, where each year since 2014, an increased number of teachers have participated in Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 projects focused on themes such as well-being, outdoor education, inclusion, climate change, language learning, and ICT digital. It is really exciting to give you a chance to hear from one of our members. Caroline has just had her very own experience with Erasmus Plus funding and a project. And we're really delighted that we can hear firsthand from Caroline. So at this point, I'd like to welcome Caroline. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I just want to chat to you for a couple of minutes just about the application process. It can be quite daunting putting an application together, but if any of you have ever put an application into the department for capital funding, you'll be a dab hand at doing the application too, as it's quite similar. You pick out your proposal and how you're going to implement it, and then you have to report on it in the end. For picking out your project, we looked at our quality action plan within the service, and that's to reflect and review and enhance the quality that we already provide. So we're just looking at a project that we can put together that will enhance the quality action plans that we've put into the department for this year. You look at your current practices, your activities and strategic plans, what supports and resources you might put into your service to support the service. The Erasmus is a project that you can use to work towards achieving your action goals and plans and enhancing the quality that you do provide to the children. So it's a fantastic opportunity for educators to do this and to get to see other services in practice. We looked at the needs of the service, what we wanted to achieve, and we looked at areas that needed improvement in our service when we were applying. And the outdoor area was one of the areas that we were looking at to do. So that's we've done our project on the outdoor area. Next slide, please. So in completing the project, as I said, it's quite similar to the capital grant funding projects. You have to put in all about your organisation, the background, and then we looked at what we were going to do, the hosting organisations, the countries that we were going to that was providing the courses. You can do some job shadowing, a combination of training and on-site visits. Our course was in Palermo in Sicily, and we did a coursework where we got to visit some Montessori schools, which was a fantastic opportunity to see the outdoor, what we applied for, to see that in practice and to chat to the educators in the other countries. That was a really big part and a really good part of the project. Your project objectives and the rationale, you know, as I said, base it on what your service needs are. It would be a real support to the staff around the CPD, as well as you do get the training with the course. You're learning, the pedagogy, you're looking at all the different areas. So the planning and preparation, the goals, are they achievable? What the objectives are for your service? Is it practical for your setting? How it will enhance the service you provide, and how it will support the staff in their CPD. So there's a reporting at the end of it as well. I'm just in the middle of doing that at the minute. Keep in mind also, just for your project, the quality standards that's on the Erasmus Plus programme. There's a list of them on the application form, and as in all early years, we have lots of standards that we need to shield the quality standards. We have the curriculum, the ASHTR teams and everything. So these quality standards are for this programme, but they're on inclusion and diversity. You can and they look there on the side there, there's environmental sustainability, support organisations, providing quality and support, practical arrangements, learning outcomes. They have all them standards. So keep them in mind when you're putting your application together. Next slide, please. And just for the support organisations, Léargas, Deirdre and Léargas was a great support to us. The European School Education Platform website was very good. Early Childhood Ireland and our local childcare committee, just to refer back to them, they will support you with the process and the application. And Una eTwinning was a good help to me also when I was putting my application together. They're at the end of the phone, an email, a message out. So I would highly recommend that you use the resources that are available from these very good people at the end of the phone. And next slide, please. And just this is a testimonial from Alice. She's my graduate ECCE leader in the service, and she came with me to the on the Erasmus Plus this year. So she said the learning experience of meeting like-minded educators from different countries and bringing back new ideas and implementing them in our service was great. I especially thought the presentations from each participant were great, and it gave me some lovely ideas to bring to my practice. And the great cultural experience of training with participants from Greece, Estonia, Sweden and Italy and Palermo and Sicily was fantastic. So it's a great opportunity and an intercultural, European-wide intercultural activity, so it's fantastic. And I just want to say that showcasing our service and Ireland's ASHTR curriculum and shields the quality standards in my presentation was the highlight for me, as it made me realise the great facilities, curriculum and quality that we already provide here in Ireland. The training, along with the on-site visits to the Montessori schools to see the children at play in the outdoor education and engage with the teachers, will support us implementing all the new ideas and practices from our project in our service and support our quality action plan. I have to say this is a fantastic opportunity for educators working directly with the children here in Ireland. So it is great. So there's loads of ideas online on the eTwinning and on the websites. And if you just stick it with your quality action, your needs of your service, and put your application together around that, it is much easier than trying to pick something that you may not need. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks for that, Caroline. We might just move on to the next slide there. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about Erasmus Plus as a whole and the activities that are available to you. But just to note that the programme runs from 2021 to 2027 and that there is a budget of 26.2 billion and 70% of that goes towards mobility projects, which are most relevant to the early years setting sector. So what actually is a mobility project? So there's 4 key stages in the mobility project. And this is also just to get used to the terminology that we use in Léargas as well with Erasmus Plus. So the planning stage includes defining the learning outcomes, the activity formats, development of work program and the schedule of activities. So kind of like your lesson plans, what you hope to do and what you hope to achieve in your project. The preparation, including practical arrangements, the selection of participants, and the setup of agreements with partners and participants. So that's all the logistics before you go on your mobility project, before you depart, your accommodation, your flights, all of that will be done in the preparation stage. The implementation of mobility activities, so when you're away, when you're abroad and you're implementing your activities, and then the follow-up section. So like Caroline said, there's a little final report to do at the end of your mobility project, and that's just to evaluate your activities and how well you disseminated the project outcomes, and just to give us an idea of what you covered on your whole project. So next slide, please. So short-term projects for mobility of staff in education, they last from 6 to 18 months. And the maximum number of mobilities per application is 30. So what that means is that there's 30 participants, a maximum number of 30 participants per application. And just to note that prep visits and accompanying persons will not count towards this limit. We'll talk a little bit about what they are later on. Individual participants do not have to be named at the time of applying. And similarly, structured courses or training events also do not have to be named in the application. Only the theme of the course and the country where you expect the course to take place. So by theme, we mean what your project is going to focus on, whether it be outdoor education like Caroline, or well-being and yoga, or mindfulness, or even leadership skills, enhancing your leadership skills. And then for budget headings, there's travel, individual support, course fees, and organisational support. We won't be talking about the budget today, but we mention it at the end. Next slide. So the activities that can be organised. So for staff, we have job shadowing, which lasts from 2 to 60 days, teaching assignments from 2 to 365 days, or courses in training. The courses in training and the job shadowing are by far the most popular. So courses in training is where you go abroad and you take part in structured courses from 2 to 30 days. And just to note that you can get a max of 10 days course fees per participant. And then job shadowing is where you would partner with another early years setting and you go over to them and visit them and observe their practices. And maybe you might take over the class for the day, but you're there to observe and learn their policies and their practices. And hopefully then when you come back into your own setting, you can implement them into your setting. We also have other activities, so invited experts from 2 to 60 days. So that is where you could invite somebody from abroad to come to your setting to teach a certain theme or an activity. So the example I always use is yoga. If your project focuses on mindfulness or well-being, you can invite a yoga expert from any EU country to come and teach your staff about mindfulness practices. And then hosting staff in training. So you can also host staff that are training to be early years practitioners, and you can host them from 10 to 365 days. We also have prep visits available, and we really recommend prep visits for newcomers especially. They take place before your mobility even starts. You would go over to your partner, your hosting partner, and just to ensure that you know why you're going and they know why you're coming, to set a plan in place and to establish the route that you can take as well. And to just plan your travel, just so you know how to get there and you know the route a bit better. Next slide. So the eligible countries are the 27 member states of the EU, as well as the third countries associated to the programme. So we have North Macedonia, Serbia, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Turkey. Next slide. And then these are the key priorities of Erasmus Plus. So like Caroline said, they kind of mirror Shielta or Ashter, the policies that you've already implemented in your settings. So you should be familiar enough with them. But inclusion, reaching out to all participants and fostering inclusive approaches for mobility activities. Green, building knowledge on sustainability and climate action while promoting the use of green travel. Digital education, fostering digital capacities and developing accessible, high-quality digital learning, and active participation, which is enhancing participation in democratic life. Next slide. These are the objectives that underpin the Erasmus programme, and like Caroline has said as well, just to bear them in mind when you are applying and when you're filling out your application form. So strengthening the European dimension of teaching and learning by promoting values of inclusion and diversity, tolerance and democratic participation, increasing the quality of teaching and learning in school education by supporting professional development of teachers, school leaders and other school staff, promoting new technologies and contributing to the creation of the European education area by building capacity of organisations to engage in cross-border exchanges and cooperation and carry out high-quality mobility projects. So they're very much in line with the priorities that we previously talked about in the last slide, and they link in with Shielta and Ashter as well. So next slide. So the eligible organisations, so for early years and school age care settings, and eligible for participation in the Erasmus Plus call for short-term mobility projects, which we're talking about today, in the field of early learning and care are those partner settings in contract for the core funding scheme with the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth. So early years and school age care settings can apply to Léargas for funding, but if you have any concerns about your eligibility, you can look up our website and all the eligibility details are there, or you can reach out to us and we can clarify that for you. Next slide. So just some things to know about the application deadline. It is Tuesday, the 20th of February at 11 AM, and then your projects will start from the 1st of June, between the 1st of June and 31st of December. The application form is live at the moment and you can see it there through that link. You will need an OID to apply to complete the application form. That's just an organisation identification number. There's a guide linked in there with each step of walking you through the process of that. Next step, or next slide. So to find mobility projects or partners and your courses, you can look up the European School Education Platform. The courses are all listed there. You can filter it by country or theme or date. So you just go to the professional development tab and you click courses. It's showing courses that are live at the moment, but you can just get an idea of the themes that the courses are. And then also, if you just go back one there, yeah, just to find partners as well, you can create an eTwinning account and you can link in with other early years educators through that platform. Next slide. There's just some inspiration there in case you're completely confused with the whole process and you don't really know where to look or what to do. There's two blogs there, one from Early Childhood Ireland and one from Sharon Skehill, who previously took part in Erasmus Plus. So you can just get an idea of the themes and what Erasmus is about. Next slide. So for next steps, if you want more information, you can contact us at Léargas. We'd be happy to talk you through it and help you out. And then you can sign up to our Léargas newsletter for updates and events and about workshop dates. We are having an application workshop. That one is the 29th of January at 3 o'clock, but we're also having one specifically for the early years sector the next day, so the 30th of January, and that one's at 6 o'clock, so that might suit better with time. But you can, it's listed on our Eventbrite anyway, so you can go in and register there. It will be recorded, so if you can't make it, sign up anyway, and we'll send you the recording and information. And we'll be going through each step of the application form, including the budget as well, just to help you out a little bit. Next slide. So we just have one case study. I'll just run through really quickly. So this was a 12-month project. It was 1-year project offered the opportunity for staff from a kindergarten in Poland to attend a structured training course in Iceland to enhance their knowledge and competencies around delivering outdoor education and incorporating environmental and health-related topics into the curriculum. The training, entitled Learning Social Skills in Nature, was based on good practice examples of Icelandic kindergarten forest schools. Staff used the knowledge they gained to introduce a number of new activities in their setting, consulted parents, and through further development have subsequently restructured much of their practice to have an outdoor education forest school focus. So that's just a nice idea, and it kind of links in with what Caroline was saying about her outdoor education, and how that they went to an Icelandic school and they further implemented the policies into their own setting. So just to give you an idea of how projects work. But yeah, next slide. So that's our contact details. You can reach out to us. My number is there if you want to have a phone call to clarify anything. We're happy to help in any way we can. So Maria, there might be some questions. I'm not sure.
That's great. Thank you so much, Caroline. And thank you so much, Caroline, for sharing your experience. If I were to summarize in a nutshell some of the key details, the key takeaways for you from today is that the deadline for the next Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 application is the 20th of February. The application form is akin to ones that you would already be familiar with in the sector, and Caroline there gave the example of the capital grants funding. And in terms of the themes for your project, the best way to start is to think about what are the real practical needs of your setting and the real practical needs in terms of CPD and professionalisation, which are inevitably linked with continuing to enhance quality for children. And we already know that for our members, this is such a priority. So it's just really great to have this opportunity to chat through and to ask questions. So at this point, I welcome any and all questions that you may want to put in through the chat, and my colleague Elaine will moderate the Q&A session. So over to you, Elaine. Thanks for introducing the questions that are coming in.
Thank you, Maria. I can see there are some questions there. Caroline, if I could go across to you first, please.
Yeah.
I can see the first question there is basically from an attendee who's asking, how did you narrow down the options and decide which area to focus on for your application?
Well, in our strategic plan, we have an extension to our building, and we're going to have a bigger playground. So it hasn't even started yet, but in the plan for the new playground, we wanted to develop our outdoor area. And after COVID, we felt the outdoor space, we need to utilise it as much as we can. So we have a massive outdoor area at the minute, and we are going to extend that even further. So that was my basis. We really need to do that with the service. That was an objective in our strategic plan. So that's what we were looking at, picking something that is really going to benefit the service, and going out there and doing the training, and then having the on-site visits to the different Montessoris and seeing their outdoor areas gave us great ideas. We took stuff for inside and outside, but having the focus on something that's for your service really is, I think that's a kind of a key to your application, to having a focus for something that's going to benefit your service.
Thanks, Caroline, for that advice. And I have one more question for you. How did you find the whole application process? Like, was it very time consuming? I think in particular is the direction of the question.
No, it actually wasn't, because we only seen it kind of at the it came up just before Christmas. I seen the information session advertised, and I registered for it. And myself and another, Alice that came with me, we had been chatting about it one day on lunch. And then when we seen it, then that was like, by the time we got back after Christmas was the middle of January. So we had kind of like 4 weeks. We hadn't heard anything about it before. We had looked into it, as I said, using Léargas and the training Una, and Deirdre was really good and helpful for us, because we gave them a few phone calls and a few messages while we were putting the application together. Now there is a bit in the application, but as I said, if you're responsible for the quality action plans and your core funding applications and stuff in the service, you will have a good idea of what you're doing for your service anyway. So, and as I said, the quality standards, we kind of read them again, just to kind of make sure that our application was in line with the standards. But that's it. It was a very short process, and then we applied in the February and we got notification in May, and we went in November. So we had we went to an information session in June, which I found really good about the funding and the application process and what we had to do and everything. So we found that was really helpful. So I would advise, if you do qualify for the funding, I would advise to go to the information day, because I found that very helpful and supportive. And I got to talk to people who already had been and I could ask questions that I had as well of people that had attended and done the Erasmus programs previously, from school teachers and different services.
And
that's very helpful, Caroline, because it's a similar time frame here. So thank you for that.
I think it's worth just repeating the timeline. So it's a good time to find out about this opportunity in January. That gives you about a month to the deadline for the funding applications in February. You're likely to find out the outcome of your application in May, and there's a follow-up session for successful applicants in June, and then projects begin in November. And that's a kind of a very good flow of the process. And thank you for clarifying that, Caroline.
Thank you, Maria. I can see there's a question here. Will the slides be shared so we can access the links? And the answer to that is yes. That email will be sent to you tomorrow with all of the links and all of the recording of this session as well. I can see there's another question coming in there. I'll go now to Caroline from Léargas. And this question is around how competitive is the process in terms of securing funding? This attendee is saying they're time poor, so they're wondering what time is taken to submit the application, and is there a likelihood that potentially they're going to be successful if they do it?
Well, there is a very high success rate. I'd say that just for an example, in our last deadline, I think we had 65 applications and only about 5 failed. Now, one of them was ineligible, and one of them had issues submitting the form. It was an incomplete form, so that was ruled out straight away. But there is a high success rate, and we are having the application clinic, so we should help with that. And we will be having a drop-in session as well, closer to the application deadline, so if you have any questions or last minute concerns, you can drop in to an online webinar and ask the questions there, so we can clarify all that then.
Perfect, thank you, Caroline. And last question for you. You mentioned a workshop there, but what's the level of support and assistance to actually help settings to complete an application form?
Well, the first half of the application form, just to give you an idea, is all about your settings. So you'll tell us about your staff, how many staff are working there, how many students, I suppose, are there, and what are your needs? Why should you get the funding? What do you hope to get out of it is basically the questions that you're asked. So you would know all that in the background of your mind, I suppose. But we are there to help. Pick up the phone and we'll help out. No issues there. And my number is there at the end of the slides as well. So if you do have any issues, or if you just need help getting started as well, you've no idea where to start, like, just pick up the phone and we can help.
Great, Caroline, that's very helpful, thank you. And our last question today, and I'll move to Maria now from Early Childhood Ireland. So coming through that, this is a fantastic opportunity, and thanks for all the information. But I'm interested to know about the timing and why now, I suppose, is the question behind this one.
Okay, thank you, Elaine. Yeah, I mean, I was listening very carefully there to Caroline, and it's great to have that clarity on the level of supports that Léargas can offer. Early Childhood Ireland has delivered over 19 Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 projects. And so we know from our experience that they're popular, that the sector is looking for opportunities to continue on their professionalisation and capacity building journeys. And we know that this is a really good opportunity for the sector. In the past, the way the eligibility criteria was established was that early years and school age care settings were not eligible to apply on their own. This is why we're delighted that this is a new opportunity and a new funding window where early years and school age care settings on their own can apply and secure Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 funding. So that is why now. And it's just fantastic to hear that the supports include the supports through Léargas, through eTwinning, through Early Childhood Ireland, through the CCCs. And we're here for you as well as we're working in partnership with Léargas to answer additional questions. So thank you so much for joining. I'm mindful of time. A very special thank you to the Early Childhood Ireland team who made this webinar possible, to Caroline, who joined us from Eivers Lane Childcare Centre, and to Caroline from Léargas. Thank you so much. And we look forward to hearing from participants and onwards onto the application deadline. Thanks a million. Take care all. Bye bye for now.